It's just this one little thing that's like, oh, I'm. Isn't it just this? Or I guess this one's not. What's the next
I also love my my tech projects, if you guys want to check out the computer, he's got the solvers model. It's pretty
When Dory starts to go, they definitely bro. Every time you draw, they place the donkey monkey. Donkey donkey.
Why was still I don't know. Bro, what do you do? What do you do? What have you been? You just can't do it. Are you serious right now?
More things than I have hands.
In about 5 minutes is when we're starting the next one. That is true. It's just like
Don't guess.
They actually don't play any significant role.
Huh?
Your
It's okay.
ties
I don't. I'll take it for research. You like it? I'll just be the better friend. You missed mine, but I'll be there for you. It's fine. I'm not hurt. The Swede wasn't here. Why'd you go under her? Why'd you scoop me? What was I gonna do? Cassandra. I don't know if that's true. There is. It's almost like we're all wearing white shirts. Mark out, you're done. You don't need it. Take it off, Mark. Ah! Take it off, Mark.
It actually is very tight on me. It's like workout flex.
Oh, this shirt is
Like actually,
It just tears.
I could literally take I called that. I called that. I called that. I told you. I felt because of my show willpower. How many viewers do you have? How many viewers? Dude, I'm telling you, dude.
The light.
The light. It wasn't. You were full of people.
After that, you have to grab each Yeah, bagels.
All right, everybody. We are moving on to our next presentation. If I can bring us all back.
Hello. Hi guys, my name is Kat. This is my senior project, final presentation by me, obviously. Okay, so about me, I'm a senior. I'm in the engineering pathway. I actually started with computer science, but I hated it, so I moved to engineering. I want to be an aerospace engineer, hopefully. I'm going to Boulder next year. I think space is pretty cool, and my favorite color is green, not pink. It's green, I promise. Okay, my project description. I'm making a telescope, in case you couldn't tell from the telescope. I chose this project because I think space is cool and it lines up with my engineering pathway, does a lot of SolidWorks, things I'm comfortable with, and it just allowed me to explore like space, because space is cool. My objective was to build a fully functional 3D model and a printed version of that part, if that worked out, I don't know. My company logo, it says OT for optical technologies. Optical because optics, that's what telescopes use, they use lenses, super cool. Yeah, and it has a telescope, because telescope. This is my expected timeline. In October, I was gonna research how a telescope worked. In November, I was gonna research how to hand make lenses. That was kind of the original plan. I wanted to, make the lenses by myself. In December, I was gonna start coming up with my designs and then figure out what materials to use for the lenses. In January, I was gonna figure out how to put those designs on SolidWorks and actually start making the lenses. In February, I was gonna print all my designs and then test and redesign as needed. In March, I was gonna finish making my lenses, print my adjusted stuff, buy materials, and put everything together. In April, last minute changes, finish putting everything together, and this presentation. These are my advisors. My two experts are Dipankar Behra and Yuri something. They have little ghosts next to them because they ghosted me. Wow, super fun. My three supports are my mother, Meron. She's emotional support. She bought me most of my stuff. That's why she has a shopping cart next to her name. My other support is my uncle, Abel Shavaro. He's an engineer. I ran a lot of my designs past him. He helped me figure things out. And my last support is Mr. Coy. He's the astronomy teacher here. That's why he has a telescope next to his name. And he let me measure his telescope. And he let me look at it. And he taught me a lot of things I know about space this semester, or last semester, I guess. So that's pretty cool. So how does a telescope work? I don't know. Just kidding, guys. So the basics, lenses and mirrors. Telescope, it's a tube. It has one or two lenses, and it just focuses light and magnifies the image you're trying to look at. Usually one or two lenses. Sometimes telescopes use mirrors. Telescopes like that are called reflector telescopes because they reflect like mirrors. But no matter what kind of lens or mirror you use, the function of the telescope is the same. Our eyes can only do so much with the light that we can see. So they gather the light and they focus it and they magnify whatever image you're trying to look at. So speaking of magnification, my little note cards. The magnification of a telescope is based on the length of the tube of the telescope, the magnification of the lens, and the focal point of the lenses themselves. And the focal point is determined by whether the lens is concave or convex lens, which you can see by that super. How does this work, guys? It's okay. The thing that moves, the picture, it moves. Concave lenses diverge the light going through the lens, so their focal point is in front of the lens. And then concave lenses disperse glare, and their focal point is before the lens because the light like condenses before the lens and then it goes through and then it, expands. Super cool. So which lens do you use, right? Which lens do you use for a telescope, concave or convex? Usually, convex lenses are better because they take the light and then they disperse it. So it's also makes it very easy to see very big images like nebulas and galaxies. And concave lenses are usually just used in like the medical field because they make it easier to see dimmer things. They don't make it easier to see in dimmer light. They just make it easier to see dimmer things. So they're not usually used for telescopes. Okay, basic mounts. So what is a mount? A mount is a thing that the telescope lies on and it moves the telescope according to how you want it to move. The two most basic mounts that I researched are the alt-azimuth mount, which moves it vertically and horizontally. It's pretty basic. And then the equatorial mount, which is a lot more complicated. It moves it vertically, it moves it horizontally, but it also accounts for the rotation of the Earth. And it's usually used for astrophotography because you can track specific stars. Pretty cool. And equatorial mounts also use celestial coordinates, which are basically like longitude and latitude, but in space. They're like expanded into space, and they use right ascension and declination. The thing that's cool about celestial coordinates, especially right ascension, as you can see over there, it's measured by hours, and it measures how far away the star is from the sun. So if a star is like 5 hours away from the sun, and the sun set 2 hours ago, you're gonna look 3 hours behind the sun to find your star, which is cool. And that image over there was taken by an equatorial mount. You can see the rotation of the Earth. You can see the stars and movement. Super cool. This is my adjusted timeline. Originally, I was planning on making the lenses, but I decided not to because one of my advisors, before he ghosted me, told me that making lenses is not very practical. We don't have the materials for it. I can't really hand make it because how do you really hand make lenses, In October, I researched how telescope worked. In November, I researched how to not hand make lenses and research telescope mounts. In December, I decided to not make the lenses and I came up with my designs. In January, I put my designs on SolidWorks and I printed. And then in February, test and redesign my parts and I started buying materials. In March, I finished a full SolidWorks model, which actually shouldn't have taken me as long as it did, but I am a procrastinator. So I redesigned most of my parts and then I bought my lenses. And then in April, I printed all my redesigned parts, I put my things together, make it look presentable, and I'm here for my final presentations. This is my process. Before I go to the next slide, just don't judge me on my drawing skills because they're not very good. So that's my basic design. It's just like the base, the vertical moving thing, and that over there is the telescope that Mr. Corey allowed me to measure. I went into his classroom when his kids was there. It was really awkward, but I measured it. This is my mount design. It's very simple. Has a hole, has a thing that goes in the hole, and it moves side to side. This is my vertical moving thing. That one goes in that hole. You screw it together, and it just moves the telescope up and down. And that's everything put together. So I redesigned this part because I didn't like that it wasn't going far enough as I wanted. It was like barely moving vertically, so I moved that part downwards so it had more movement. I also filleted the end so it has more stability, and I also added a plate to the top because then how else would the tube go on top of the part if there was no plate? That was kind of stupid of me, actually, in hindsight. Anyway, these are my almost finished parts. I had a little thing that could hold the telescope tube on top of the plate that I made in the last part, and then I made a telescope tube, and I added it. These are all also based on rough calculations, because for me to make this based on what I actually do have right now, I would have to buy the pipe first. And I didn't want to do that until my model was complete. So I made these based on rough calculations, and then I adjusted everything after I bought my pipe. This is my lens holder. It's pretty simple. It holds the lens. And then I add like little screws to the design because I realized there's nothing actually holding the design together. It's just a bunch of parts on top of each other. Just to make it more realistic, I just made some couple screws, put them together. This is my full telescope design. I even made the little lens. Okay, I bought some eyepieces off Amazon, took 50 bajillion years to get here. That's them. And then I bought a couple lenses, a couple concave, a couple convex. I decided to use the convex lenses. Okay, I know Mr. Brandt was talking about the little paper thing that works. This little paper thing, but I was just trying to explore my artistic ability. So, anyway, I glued the part I printed on a piece of cardboard, and then I just put those two parts together like they're supposed to be put together. That's me pretending to play guitar with the pipe that I bought. And then I hit my sister with it. It was a very big pipe. It was like twice my height. And I cut the tube that you can see over there. And then I cut a smaller piece of the tube to hold the telescope in. And then I blowtorched it so I can like fit it around the telescope so I can hold it together. That's my mom's fiance helped me do that. I did paint it pink, if you couldn't tell. And then I screwed everything together, but the screw was way too long, so I hand sawed the screw. That was not a good idea. After I attached the lens holder to the big tube, I took one of the eyepieces that I bought, attached it to a piece of cardboard, and just attached it to the other end so you can, see out of it like an eyepiece. So these are the eyepieces I bought. And this eyepiece was super cool. The thing I bought is that it comes with a bunch of filters that you can use to like block your eyes from the sun, from the moon, and then harmful stuff. So we can mess with that over there later. This is me painting pink. And I painted the inside black because the inside was white. And you can't really have a telescope with a white inside because it doesn't absorb light like it's supposed to. And that was actually kind of difficult because the tube is really long. But I tried my best. This is everything mostly put together, and I added the lens to the top. But the lens did kind of get messed up because it fell after I glued it. So there's kind of a little more on the lens, but ignore that. There you go. My roadblocks. Procrastination. Senioritis is so real. It's so real. My measurements. I learned that I don't know how to count during this project. I don't know how to use numbers. So that was interesting. Tolerances, which are very common sense when you're using SolidWorks models. If you make two things that are exactly the same measurements and you put them together, they will not fit together. But that was not very common sense for me, so I sanded down a lot of things. Yeah. Amazon sucks. All my stuff took forever to get here. I ordered a tripod and it got canceled last week. So sad. My other roadblock is my sister, because she sucks. And also blind, because I got eye surgery and I could not see the screen for like 2 weeks, and that did not help at all with my project. That kind of sucked. This is a failed design. Looks kind of cool, but it's not cool. Circles suck. They don't make any sense. Basically, the point was to take the base part and then make little holes that have a little spring system in them that like push out a little block, so I can have like a more precise turn when you turn it horizontally. Yeah, horizontally. But if you can see in that picture, no, not that picture. Okay, the picture in the corner, the squares don't really line up, and I don't know why. And I spent 2 weeks trying to figure this out. Don't do that. The printer, it broke. Yay. This is one of the parts that I printed out. This is actually the part that I decided to tape or glue a cardboard on top of, because it printed out really weird. It's not flat, and there's still material inside the little screw hole. So that wasn't gonna work. I broke a lens. Oops. They were kind of expensive, but it's okay. So my final product, I'm actually kind of happy with. I painted it bright pink because why not? With a lot of glue, a lot of tears, a bunch of energy drinks. I put everything together, and I'm actually kind of happy with it. So that is my final product. You can see it over there at the table when we're done. And this is my bibliography. I cited all my sources. Thank you, guys. questions? No, because I glued the lens on last night at 4 a.m. So not yet, but maybe tonight we can all get together and look at the moon. I said Eli, but I meant Eric. Sorry, Eric. You shouldn't. Farquaad.
You know how much it would like zoom in relative to your eye?
Actually, I would have to calculate that, and I can actually tell you the equation right now off the top of my head.
Do it.
Okay, wait. I'm pretty sure it's the magnification of the lens times the length of the tube divided by the focal point of your lens. I'm pretty sure that's how I figured that out. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
So how many lenses?
How big is the lens?
Yeah, how many do you have? How many digital telescopes?
There's only one lens in the telescope I have right now. I still have a bunch of lenses I didn't use. I didn't really figure out a way to make it so that the lenses were switchable. So it just has one lens in it right now. It's kind of super glued, so it will not come out.
What does it like focus on? Because you talked about like space. Because I didn't know, because people buy telescopes, look at different things. Majorly the stars, but also planets, other things. So I needed to know what does your telescope focus on.
Oh, okay. At the very beginning, my goal was actually to look at the Andromeda galaxy, which is the closest galaxy to us right now. I haven't actually used the telescope to see that, but I think my magnification is high enough to do that. So we'll see. Any other questions? Will?
So around the beginning, we were talking about the two different kinds of amounts. One that would account for the rotation, but you didn't tell us which one you actually used.
That's so real. I did not use the one that accounts for the Earth rotation. Those are usually motorized because you can't really stand by your telescope all night and move it like inch by inch every time the star moves. And I didn't really want to motorize my telescope because I didn't have enough time. So I used the alt-azimuth mount. Yeah. Eric.
Sorry.
They're like $65. Nick.
Piggybacking off of that question, how much did you spend on the entire project in general?
I think I spent like $300 on this project. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Eli.
Do you have like a system?
I do not. I should have thought of that. Actually, that's pretty smart. Farquaad.
So you were talking about celestial coordinates. Do you have the ability to like know what coordinate you'll be looking at when you're looking at the telescope?
Not really. My telescope is very imprecise. It just moves based on how you move it. For me, that was actually the original plan of my failed design. I would have like little portions of it sectioned by the celestial coordinates, so you can move it according to each celestial coordinate, kind of like the equatorial mount, but I didn't end up doing that. Nick?
So how are you planning on furthering this project, like continuing on?
I kind of never want to think about this project again after this. I'm not gonna lie. I'll look at the moon once, and I guess that's it. That's it for me. Okay, any other questions? No? Perhaps from Noah? No? Okay, Eric?
I'll give you a
Guys, okay. I took the longest paintbrush that I had, and I took a big piece of fabric, and I wrapped it around the paintbrush, and I tied it with yarn, and I just like doused it in black paint, and I just kind of painted the inside of the telescope. It's really scuffed, guys. Okay. Yes, Noah.
So we're going to in total 65 or like 65 pieces?
Oh, they were a total of 65. 65 a piece is crazy. I don't have money like that. Yeah. Okay. No more questions? Ms. Gregg?
Did you take the astronomy class?
I did take the astronomy class first semester.
So did you enjoy that?
I did. It was so much fun. It was very interesting. I actually slept a lot during that
So,
class.
so this project hasn't ruined that part. So the project hasn't ruined that part. You're still
No, it
interested.
hasn't. I think space is still pretty cool. I still want to do aerospace and, space things. This project has not ruined that for me. Space things, yes. But I'm not going to go to space because that's scary.
Sorry to say this, but you kind of contradict your own statements. Because you say that you love space and you love to go there, but then you say
Okay, I never said I would love to go there. I said I think space is cool. I like to study space. I think space itself is interesting, but I have a huge fear of going to space and then dying, so I don't want to do that. Okay. Sion?
Knowing what you know now, what would you have changed after
I would have actually done work first semester. Yeah, that's probably what I would have done.
I'm not pretending to attack you, but like, you see, about the movements and the people, like the movement of the telescope, it's not that you should be in one place, because circles are the best thing in movements, so like movements, like the best thing in moving all the parts of the telescope, because they move, you can get like a pivot that can move 360 degrees. But the best thing, your telescope is like you're limiting your telescope to only having like different parts that can move in different ways. But if you just build it like one that can base on a circle, small circle, that can move in all directions that you want to. Because I'm not very sure, but there are different measurements of making the telescope and angles and the ways they create it to look in certain areas. Like, that was just a suggestion.
So her stand didn't come in.
Yeah, the tripod was canceled. Boo Jeff Bezos. Yeah.
So it would have.
The tripod I was actually planning to buy was a camera tripod, and it moves the telescope itself. So if one of my mechanisms didn't end up working, which they do, by the way, I could use that. So it would move it like it's supposed to. But I wanted to make the parts myself. SolidWorks is cool, kind of. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, almost done. Thank you guys for listening.
So where's? We're waiting to see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just walk up on the stage.
No way.
I didn't know that. I'm not gonna be able to see. I saw my picture and then 3A.
Oh, yeah, no, I told her, I don't think she'll be back to that. What happened? It's the best. Like, you know how I do
At least I create a stage for yourself. Well, no, we have That's true.
What?
Yeah.
I think I'm really correct.
That was my best friend.
White.
I just said that you want to give an answer.
Yeah, honestly, he doesn't. It's still right.
Actually, not.
She did it on purpose. She made it on Wait, you did? Well, you didn't work out.
You're fine. I got crazy lady.
The scope of some.
No way, you had the other. Right. Yeah, try to please.
No, his shoes. I just pulled the.
I'd be scared to say. If I saw him at a castle gate, I would be on his leg. Can you count on this? It's crazy.
Literally, outside, we had a summer literally between 5 minutes. We had
Well, we have two participants from.
Vibrating so fast that this
oh, no, it's speed. And speed Coach no, he didn't
Oh, excellent. Okay. Yeah, hopefully you can get it right. I mean, I've seen video. I know he's on the scene.
See any of the
So I discovered relationships downstairs. So I got into the class. Oh yeah, that was great. He was just. I mean, glad I can help out.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it.
Well, now I'm not racist. something like this. It was great. Higher energy. So it's a lot of what this is, it's metal. So, powder steel. Powder take laser, you scan it over wherever you want it. Lay it out, rinse and repeat. Out of metal. Or 3D printing, heat exchange. All your parts are Hey, how are you
Yeah, that's the only thing I have.
But yeah, it's a cool industry.
None of my stuff is actually existing.
You know, everybody's trying to figure out a way to use these I think it's I did electrical actually. I had a class like this where, you know, I wanted to get involved. We did a little bit of stuff with electronics, nothing involved. But I remember looking at the board and saying, I don't understand. You know, like you're looking at the circle, I have no idea how this works. So it's like, oh, that's good. If I undergrad, electrical engineering, and I got into some research, working in a lab doing lasers and optics. Lasers. So then I went to grad school, I went to CSU. Did lasers. So either of y'all science tech background?
Well, my dad and both my brothers.
Okay, yeah.
I never. But yeah, surely do it. So, just one more. I respect.
Yeah.
They work so hard.
Yes.
We change the world. I think it should be more than
So I mean, it's definitely rewarding. It's fun getting to put something together. Hey, I built this. I can tell you, I'm excited about this. You know, he's really, really proud of having put this system together. And he should be. It's a really nice.
He worked for months problem solving.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it's about. There's a simple problem. If you don't know what the solution is.
Absolutely.
I wasn't know, you know, and he figured it out. And, I was huge win.
I mean, he was asking the right questions. Yeah, what real business test did. It didn't work. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Not just throw it.
Yeah.
Why didn't that work? Okay, that's interesting. Let's dig into it.
Yeah, so I can tell.